Coming up on Hoge and Jahns, Week 3 preview episode, Bears and Cowboys. Both teams feel like they should win this one. Clarence Hill from DLLS is going to join us. Hoge and Jahns starts right now. Oh, yes, it is the return of Matt Eberflus to Chicago. What's up? Welcome in, Hoge and Jahns, back with you already into week 3. At least the weather's still warm and nice for now. Bears practice inside yesterday. I don't know if it's too hot.
I'm guessing Wednesday was a very physical, demanding, sweaty and smelly practice, but yeah, still a bit different to see them inside.
Smelly practice.
I imagine everybody's sweating.
Yeah, probably. All right. You ready for this one?
Revenge of the Flus. I was trying to. So when Ben Johnson wasn't exactly introduced at Ford Field, I mean, head coaches are mentioned, but like when he took the field with Bears security, like Lions fans were waiting, and they let him hear it. Are Bears fans waiting for Flus to take the field? Will they even care to the point where we have to boo the man? Will they boo the man?
Well, it is interesting. He is on the field. He is calling plays on the field, which I was, if he had been in the booth, you could say, oh, well, he can maybe hide a little bit better in there. However, the way those coaches' booths are at Soldier Field, on the opposite side of where the press box actually is, you have to walk through like the elevator comes up from where the locker rooms are, and there's like a little jaunt. This is a small jaunt you have to do, but you're on the concourse with the fans. They usually have security there and stuff, and I imagine they would have extra security, and probably will anyway for Flus down there on the field. But yeah, to answer your question, if they're paying attention, I think he'll get some boos.
I imagine there's going to be a couple fans, just vocal fans, like throughout the game. Like if there's like a good quiet moment, you may be able to hear them just yell at Flus from their seats in the stands, the ones that are close by, because some of those fans are very close, where when Matt Eberflus is meeting with his defensive players on the bench, where he's actually facing the stands. I imagine there'll be a few Bears fans that let him hear it in their own kind of way, especially the ones that are like 10, 15 yards away.
Yeah. Well, I would say the best revenge would be to put up a ton of points on his defense and win the football game. We'll see if they can do that. We're going to spend the rest of this episode breaking it down and eventually making our predictions. Do us a favor. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the Hoge and Jahns YouTube channel if you're here for the first time, or if you're a longtime podcast listener who still hasn't checked out the YouTube, even if you're not going to watch it much on YouTube, please go hit subscribe because it helps us grow the channel. We are also live on Monday mornings, sometimes Sunday nights, depending on travel schedules and things like that. But usually our post-game episodes, which we typically do Monday mornings, we go live on YouTube. So you can interact with us live. And we will be doing that this Monday following this game at 9 a.m. So another good reason to hit subscribe, hit that like button, have your notifications set so you know when we do go live. Now that we are part of the All City family, we get access to, great guests like Clarence Hill, who covers the Cowboys for DLLS, going into year 2 down there for DLLS. They do a great job covering the Cowboys. You might have seen Jeff Kavanaugh, who's very different from Clarence, by the way, on CHGO yesterday. He likes to just kill Jerry Jones at every opportunity he possibly can for being the worst GM in sports. So I highly recommend you check out Jeff on yesterday's CHGO Bears show if you missed that. But Clarence is our guy in the locker room and around the star down there in the Dallas area. He knows this franchise inside and out. He's been covering them for a long time, and we're going to bring him into Hoge and Jahns right now. All right, let's bring in our guy, Clarence Hill. He's been covering the Cowboys for a long, long time. He knows the organization inside and out. He's been along for the Jerry Jones ride. What's up, Clarence? Doing a great job with DLLS. Thanks for jumping on with us.
How you guys doing, man? I'm, trying to get my bearings straight so I can head to Chi-Town, the Windy City. I've been having a little fun on Twitter. I don't want lasagna pizza. Okay, I don't want that deep dish pizza you got to eat with a spoon. Okay, I just like regular pizza. I'm sorry.
Oh no, we got takes on this, Johnsy. Why don't you fill him in on what he needs to do?
You need, thin crust, tavern style. Now it's not cut in triangles, but it's cut in squares. You might get a triangle in the corner a little bit, but there's a place if you're staying in the city called Salerno's on Grand, just west of downtown. So if you want real Chicago pizza, I suggest you try it out. You can get an RC Cola there too, Adam.
I was going to say, get the RC Cola and some Salerno's and you're all set.
Tavern style is real Chicago pizza, not that soupy stuff.
I mean, they both are, but that's like our internal battle when Chicago fights Chicago, little Cubs White Sox action. Is it deep dish? Is it tavern style? They're both good, but tavern style is the thin crust, squares. That's what you want, Clarence. Especially if you don't want the deep dish, which is perfectly fine take, then go for the tavern style.
Friday night is pizza night in Chicago. Yeah. I feel like everyone orders pizza on nights like this, and we're going to get tavern style pizza later today. That's the plan.
There you go. Fair enough.
I like this, though, because I remember going down to Dallas, and I'm like, I got to get barbecue. This is what you do.
You got to do what you got to do.
All right, Clarence, tell us about let's start with our guy, Matt Eberflus, okay? Because I'm curious on this. What was I know the fan base as a whole was a little bit just like, what is going on when they hire Brian Schottenheimer? What was the take? What was the temperature of the fan base when Matt Eberflus was hired as the defensive coordinator? And how are they feeling right now through 2 games where the Cowboys, much like the Bears, haven't been able to get many stops?
I don't think there was much of a temperature on Eberflus. It was more about Schottenheimer, and there was so much shock and awe with the decision on Schottenheimer because, nobody else was going to hire him. And even, Jerry called it a ho-hum hire, so to speak. And, and so I don't really think people really thought about Eberflus, and, again, Eberflus has been here before, he's done the he's the Rob Marinelli started kid. I mean, the philosophies are the same. And, it's funny that I remember when they were frustrated with the Rob Marinelli defense and, we need to get that out of here and get something else that's more exotic and where you do more things and everything like that. And when they brought Eberflus back, no one really thought about that. They just really were focused on Shoddy and the people who were hiring and the offensive guys and you got a lot of college coaches and different things like that on offense and nobody really thought about Eberflus until now.
He's coming back. He's coming back to Chicago. He's coming back with you.
He's coming back to Chicago, but I mean, it's like this defense. He doesn't do much. He runs the same. They've been in zone 99% of the time. They rush 4. They don't do much, and I really believe, and we've been talking about this at DLS, but there's no way Eberflus took this job not thinking he was going to have Micah Parsons to help his pass rush. I mean, because what he does, he rushes 4. Well, to rush 4, I got this generational pass rush over here. That's going to make my unit work. That's going to help my zone and things I do in the back end. They're running these lies down here that the front office run these lies that it was unanimous. We all wanted to get rid of Micah Parsons. There's no way Eberflus wanted to get rid of Micah Parsons. No freaking way he wanted to part ways with, one of the best pass rushers, not the best pass rusher in the NFL to make his defense go. And we're seeing the fruits of that. I mean, they don't get the quarterback and they're struggling on the back end. And it was, it was a mess last week against the Giants where Russell Wilson looked like, the Russell Wilson of old, and just throwing moon balls and touchdowns and just running by folks and the communication issues in the back end, and then not even getting to the quarterback on the front end. It was a mess. And so I wonder what we're going to get this weekend. I was saying earlier, it's the movable object versus the resistible force on both defenses. You know, neither defense can stop a nosebleed.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the personnel. We're going to get to Micah Parsons, I guess, in a little bit. But, so what I'm hearing is Matt Eberflus doesn't have really the personnel to run a Rod Marinelli-like defense at the moment, does he?
I don't think so. You know, if you're just going to rush forward and get to the quarterback, you need a badass pass rusher, right?
You do.
That's what you need. And so they've went on and gotten Jadeveon Clowney to help now, you know, as a pass rusher. But, you know, he's a good defensive end. He's an all-around defensive end. He can stop the run and rush the pass, but he's not a difference-making pass rusher. He's never been that. That's probably the disappointment of him being a number 1 overall pick, and everybody thought he was going to be, you know, Micah Parsons and have those type of impacts. He's not done that, but he's a solid veteran and he's going to help and add to the mix. You know, we talked to Eberflus on yesterday, and he said, "Yeah, pass rusher, give me as many of those like you can." Well, you had one, okay? You had one. Y'all got rid of him, but yeah. So that's pretty much the issue. You know, outside of the cornerbacks are man-to-man corners. Trevon Diggs is a man-to-man corner. You ask him to play zone. He's never played zone. He doesn't play zone. They don't, you know, you got a man, you know, that's what they're used to. That's what they've done. And so you're asking your players to do things that are really not their skill set, outside of their skill set. You know, and that's the frustrating thing. You guys covering the league a long time is that coaches got to be able to change and adapt to the players. Players should always have to adapt to the coaches. I mean, I know this is your tentpole philosophy, but you don't have zone corners. You got man corners.
Yeah, no, and I could tell the Cowboys are going through that a little bit. Even when the few times they have blitz, it's looked pretty good, and then but then he just doesn't do it a lot because he just doesn't do it, and so that's been interesting. What do you make though about sort of the chess match and all this in terms of and both? I know, you know, Ben Johnson commented on this earlier in the week. Flus obviously has his opinions on Caleb Williams. He has his ideas of you know, what his weaknesses might be, what his strengths might be, and a little bit of an intimate look at, you know, how he can attack them or maybe more likely not attack them. This week, on the other hand, I thought Ben Johnson made a pretty good point. Hey, we got coaches in this building that know Matt Eberflus that literally helped him prepare to face me last year. In, you know, when Ben was in Detroit, obviously. So I find all that really interesting. I don't know how much it's actually going to matter on Sunday. What do you make of all that?
I mean, I think that, yeah, Ben and Eberflus face each other in Detroit and Chicago, so they know each other. And I think Detroit had the upper hand during those matchups. And I don't know if Ben has the same personnel in Chicago they had in Detroit, but, you know, it's a little different. But, you know, the mindsets, everybody understands the mindsets of what they want to do. And the wild card is Caleb. You know, Caleb. You know, I think that's the biggest wild card. You know, what you going to get? The consistency. You know, is he going to bail out? Is he going to, you know, make the plays? You know, and you look at his time to throw, and, you know, obviously he scrambles to scramble, and you know, when that play looks like a generational talent, like that's why we signed that guy, or that's why we drafted that guy at number 1. And next play, what are you doing? You know, and I really think that he's the wild card with all of it. You can, you know, yes, they know each other, and as much as what Ben wants to do, can he really do what he wants to do and really look like the genius that he was in Detroit when Caleb's the wild card?
The Bears this week, well, speaking of the other quarterback, like they've spent some time this week talking up Dak Prescott as one of the best quarterbacks in this league. Got to get after him, can't give him time. They've mentioned how he uses his cadence, like everything that he does. Who is Dak Prescott, I guess, at this point in his career? I know he's got a couple good receivers, but maybe take us through it.
He got a couple of great receivers.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Good receivers. You know, it's always funny to me. We know Dak Prescott's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. He's been that way, and he gets so much. He's very underrated in that respect. And and he does a lot at the line. It's funny because down here people are like, well, because there are a lot of Dak Prescott haters and people because of his playoff success, playoff record, and people don't respect the player and the numbers he's put up and the things he does at the line. Because a lot of quarterbacks that come into the league, and we got the new shiny kid on the block. C.J. Stroud a couple of years ago. Now you got in Washington. And they make plays. They're great quarterbacks in a sense of what they're asked, but they're not asked to do what Dak is asked to do at the line. And with Dak, if you talk to a lot of quarterbacks, the Peyton Mannings, they respect what Dak is asked to do. Not just throw the ball, but make the calls and make the change, how he moves, manipulates defense and things like that the other quarterbacks are not asked to do. And so we get all excited about their playmaking skills, but just talk about playing the position of quarterback. And Dak, we talked to him yesterday. I got a story up on DLLS. He's, as confident, as comfortable as ever. Certainly, it's just 2 games in the season, but he's playing as well as he's ever played. And now he got the quarterback run back in his game. He's healthy again. He's been accurate. You look at his third down. I mean, he's completing 75% of his throws on third down this season. And I always say the mark of a quarterback is what you're doing on third down. Are you converting on third down? Everybody's first and second down is one thing, but are you converting and moving the chains on third down? And Dak Prescott is moving the chains like nobody's business on third down right now. 75%, 15 or 20 on third down right now. That's crazy talk. And then you add in the receiver with CD and George Pickens, excuse me. CeeDee Lamb is one of the best receivers in the game. And we know George Pickens from Pittsburgh coming here, trying to really have a big season. We get paid in the off season. They fit so well together. And then you got Kevontae Turpin and the tight end Jake Ferguson. I think he's leading all tight ends and receptions right now through the first 2 weeks in the middle of the field. So, that offense is cooking right now. You just watch, going back to the Eagles game, Dak made perfect throws. That game the Cowboys should have upset the Eagles in week 1 if CD, we talked about, doesn't drop 4 passes and 2 on the final drive. And then you look last week against the Giants in fourth quarter and overtime, Dak was amazing. So he's playing well. He's playing out of his mind. He's, comfortable with Shoddy, calling the play. Shoddy was there with Mike McCarthy. Remember 2 years ago under Mike McCarthy, when Shoddy was offensive coordinator, Dak was second in MVP balloting. He led the league in passing yards. He led the league in passing touchdowns. That's who he is. And and when Dak is healthy, this offense is routinely put up big numbers.
So is Shoddy winning over the fan base here a little bit with 1-1 with should have beat the Eagles, number 7 offense in EPA, I think so far. And Javonte Williams is, I believe, the number 1 EPA running back through 2 weeks. It seems like it's going pretty well.
Going well. And Shoddy's great at the podium. He's great with the media. And so I think that's part of it. But again, we're 2 weeks in, and there are tough games to come, and I think they start now. Because the Cowboys have a murderous road toward the end of the season. With middle of the season, they got the Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, and Vikings. But I thought the Vikings were going to be tough. We don't really know who's going to have a quarterback. They got 4 straight games, but this is like allegedly their salad time. You're gonna eat. You got to eat right now, but they're on the road. You got the Bears, then you got the Packers, then you got at the Jets and at Carolina. And you need to get off to a good start because the game's going to get tough later. This is to me a game you have to win. And you have to beat a Bears team rebuilding on the road. I know it's on the road, but this is a game you have to win because you do have Green Bay next week, and things can get off kilter quick, because they do have their own challenges. But Shoddy's started well. He's won over the fan base with and some of the media with his press conferences, and you talk about Javonte Williams starting good. He's running to light boxes because of the receivers. You look at it, he's running. I guess he's a strong, good, solid running back, strong, hard to bring down. He runs tough, but he runs against a lot of light boxes because you have to double outside.
Clarence, kind of a big picture question here. So I'm on my third general manager for the Bears, my second team president. God knows how many coaches. We have a running backs joke, a running backs joke that we've probably covered. Adam, how many? 25 different running backs, coach? Coaches,
Feels like it, yeah.
What's it like covering an organization where the owner is the GM?
Have you watched the movie, the Netflix show yet?
Not yet.
I got through episode 1 the other night. I'm about halfway through episode 2.
Well, watch the whole thing. I was, we had Adam on yesterday, and I was joking. I don't know if were you on there? And I was joking that Jerry may be a better GM than Poles, right?
Yeah.
Considering the success you guys have had, maybe the only stop with, hey, the Cowboys got a better GM. It's interesting, but Jerry keeps it going. I mean, it's not just the football stuff; it's the off the field stuff. He admits that he creates soap operas. He creates things to get people to talk about. Whether it's whether it's the contract situations and making them public and doing on the just the Micah thing and going on all these TV shows to talk about that and podcasts. I mean, he went on a tour, talking about, he was on Good Morning America, Stephen A. I mean, Shannon Sharp. I mean, he was everywhere talking about the Micah thing and creating this narrative and he wants people to talk about the Cowboys. I remember Dak's rookie year. 4th round pick, just become quarterback. They're hot. They've already decided we're moving on from Tony Romo. The coaches, the players, this is Dak's team. Jerry will come in after games late in the season that's getting ready for the playoffs. You got a rookie quarterback and say, I dream of Tony Romo leading us to the Super Bowl. So he could be on sports. So people talk about, hey, I know Dak is hot, but could Tony Romo be coming back? And it's already been decided. Do you think a rookie quarterback needs to hear that heading into the playoffs for the first time going against Aaron Rodgers?
No.
But these are things that he's done and does and creates to keep people talking about the Cowboys. He wants them on First Take. He wants them on SportsCenter. He wants people going live to him after every game. We're rushing to hear what Jerry says after the game. You have to make a decision. You're going to talk to the head coach or you're going to talk to the owner, GM. After the game, they're talking at the same time.
That's crazy. And that says that's totally foreign to us. Like the idea that the owner / GM's talking after the game every single week. You know what? I'll say this. I mean, he obviously does a lot of things to make your head, scratch your head. At least he's open and honest about it. I can respect that. He's not hiding what he's doing, and he's not running away from the media at any point. There's so many other organizations where you don't hear from the GM half the season or, at all during the season. You don't hear from the owner during the season. So I don't know if it's necessarily good or bad for the Cowboys, but, at least he owns it, and I can respect that.
He owns the drama.
Yeah.
But he also says, just because I said it don't make it so.
That's up to you to figure out.
Yeah.
Right. So he owns the drama, but then you write the drama and write what he says, and that's not what's happening, because just because I said it don't make it so. So he does have that as well.
It's crazy.
I'll say this. He knows how to draft offensive linemen. We're covering a team that has had no clue for years in terms of.
That's Will McClay. Okay.
So he's got guys he trusts, and as long as the results are there, they seem to draft pretty well.
No, they've had success with offensive linemen. And Tyler Smith is the next great one. We'll see. If Tyler got left tackle pans out, he struggled as a rookie last year because they kind of forced him. A guy that played right tackle in college and only played 2 years of offensive line in college, and they made him their left tackle, and he's a fighter. He's getting better. But yeah, Tyler Smith, and then they drafted Tyler Book out of Alabama, who's going to be a great right guard as well.
So, all right, let's get to the point. I mean, who do you think's going to win? This just seems like one of those games where the Cowboys feel like they should win, the Bears feel like they should win, fan bases all think their team should win. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, tell me how it's going to be windy.
I
know it's a windy city. What is it? Wind is going to be windy coming off of that.
There's some storms kind of in the area. They might be before or after the game,
right?
Yeah. I'm not too really worried
Well, the
about
only
the
reason I
weather.
asked about the Williams because the Cowboys got that kicker in their back pocket they really like, and I don't know how that would affect the field goals late in games and which one game they have a really good kicker. But my take
says only Clarence. It says only 5 to 10 mile an hour winds.
Oh, so that's not that bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as I said, movable force, resistible object. I think both offenses should eat. I do trust Dak to make plays and be consistent more than Caleb, and I think that's the difference. Which Caleb we're going to get, because I think that Roma Dunze and DJ can make plays against the Cowboys secondary. But where we're going to get a quarterback, and is he going to be consistent to win a shootout? And I think it certainly could be a high scoring game, shootout type game. And I think I trust Dak more than I trust Caleb.
That's fair. That's fair. Clarence Hill from DLLS. We'll be following along. We'll see you here in Chicago. Get that pizza. All right.
All right, guys. Appreciate you.
See you Sunday. All right, Adam Hoge. It's that time again. Let's be real for a second. The world's gone soft. Like these defenses we're about to watch. And
soft defenses.
On Sunday. Yeah.
Soft coverage.
Soft
especially
coverage.
Flus has got the soft coverage.
Under a lot of completions underneath. Yeah. You know what's not soft, though? RC Cola. So they used to have some kick. Now it's all about pretty colors and easy fizz. RC Cola is not a soft drink, just damn good cola. It's the original cola that doesn't fold under pressure. RC's an OG cola in the world of spineless soft drinks. No trends, no gimmicks, no cola. RC hasn't changed its stripes since 1905 because it didn't need to. So do yourself a favor. Grab some RC at your local store. Stock up for all your end of summer parties, back to school celebrations, or just watching the game like this one on Sunday. RC is the move for whatever you're doing.
And our friends at Sunnyside Dispensary are here to elevate your football season. The Bears need to elevate their season right now and get a win. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Wherever you're at in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. They have spots as far south as Champaign, as far north as South Beloit, near that Wisconsin border. Stop in the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff. And a great way to do it, too, is just visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Just enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. And for returning customers, you can use code CHGO50. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
All right, Adam, are you ready?
I am.
3 big questions. 3 big questions is brought to you by RC Cola. RC Cola is not a soft drink, just damn good cola. Number 1. Can you please describe the Matt Eberflus era in 3 words or less, Adam Hoge?
Hits didn't work.
Forget my answer. That is fantastic.
That was no notes, no prep. I
Yes.
just honestly just that was top of my head.
Yeah. That is good. Do you think he's still using hits down there, or did he?
We
should
should have asked Clarence. That's a bad job by us.
But I feel like he would have mentioned it if the hits were a thing. I'm sure he is.
I'm sure he is. It's just maybe he learned his lesson that maybe we don't only talk about that nonstop.
Well, give me 1 second. Hits. Good old
Little Dallas Cowboys.
hits. Matt Eberflus, Dallas Cowboys. What do we got?
It's got to be a thing.
The first thing the first hit I got is him saying we got to play better as a team. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I was going to use the word frustration somewhere in there, but that is very good. All right, number 2. You throw me off.
You don't even have one?
I know. I was going to say frustrating and fluxaming or something like that. But number 2.
Okay.
All right, let's get serious again. Number 2. When Ben Johnson said, I think our practice habits are yet to reflect a championship caliber team. What immediately came to mind?
Yeah, I know. I know this has become a big a topic this week, and I honestly thought it was a little interesting how Grady Jarrett handled this yesterday. It almost seemed like he was pushing back a little bit. I asked him the question, and he eventually got around to saying, "Hey, if he's the leader, and if he thinks that it's not good enough, then we got to respond," and that's what we've done the last couple of days. But it took him a little bit to get there, and then Grody followed up and asked him if he agreed with the assessment that the practice habits weren't up the championship calendar, and he avoided the question and just said, "I'm looking forward to playing the Dallas Cowboys." So I don't know. I found that a little interesting as something you sort of file away for if things go wrong again on Sunday. But what comes to mind is all these coaches in the past that constantly, like, we had a great week of practice. So I appreciate that Ben Johnson's like, no, we're not practicing the way we should be.
So I thought two things. Yes, number one, Mark Trestman always saying we were having great practices, when in fact they were not having great practices at all. And some of them, if you talk to some of the former players, including ones on CHGO, they were not good at all. Actually, probably a bit horrendous. And then number two, like, part of me heard a coach that doesn't have his guys in here yet. You know what I'm talking about? You know how much turnover happens after coaching regimes, and there's only so much you could do in year one. And I think you have a coach coming off a pretty humbling loss, a pretty awful loss in Detroit, where I think, he still talked about not being up to the physicality standards that the Detroit Lions wanted to play with. So I heard a coach in Ben Johnson who doesn't have this roster where he wants it to be yet, just in terms of the players that he wants. And that's going to take time, just like it took time in Detroit. And I think we've talked about these comments a lot. I think they've been overanalyzed a lot. Those comments from Ben Johnson have been taken to the locker room, like you said. But I think they'll be interesting. Something interesting to follow, just in terms of whether or not players respond to it and he gets those, championship caliber practice habits that he's talking about.
Did you see what UConn head men's basketball coach Dan Hurley tweeted about this?
Oh, he,
of all people to chime in.
Please continue.
So there was one of the many Twitter accounts that took that video, that short 6-second clip, just the short version. It's not the follow-up answer later when there was a follow-up question to that. And he retweeted it. Dan Hurley said, "Love this. These are the battles you fight when taking over a losing organization or team." And then he did the salute emoji.
That's great.
This is a guy who took over a very good historic basketball program at UConn that was losing and turned them around into a national championship team. So it's got some credence behind these words, some credibility behind these words. Thought that was a super interesting perspective from a coach chiming in on a random thing that's coming out in the NFL world.
Yeah. But at the same time, I get Grady Jarrett's point. That's a proud veteran who's been in this league for many years, like almost a decade, more than a decade, right? So to hear him push back a little bit, I'm not surprised. But at the same time, Grady Jarrett didn't practice on Wednesday because he's dealing with a knee injury. This is the battles that Ben Johnson is fighting.
I'm going to bring this up too. He did practice yesterday. He came back, was limited yesterday, and I didn't notice it in the moment. But our friend Dion Miller, it's a great job for ABC7. She had a video of Grady going through an individual drill on her Instagram last night as I was kind of scrolling through, catching up on some things. He didn't look good. It just looked like he's not healthy. So he's got a few more days to get ready for Sunday. And he's a gamer. That. Yeah. He said as much yesterday. He's like, hey, Playing this league, these things are going to happen. Mine just happens to be a little bit early in the season. So I think he's going to do everything he can to get out there and play, but that doesn't mean he's going to be 100%. It's just something to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, number 3. After week 1, we talked about Caleb Williams' cadence. After week 2, everyone discussed his eyes and footwork. What are we talking about after week 3?
Well, I hope it's not the cadence again, but they are going back home where they're going to be using all that stuff, multiple plays in the huddle, different cadences. And I get the sense that these guys, these coaches, this coaching staff's going to keep putting it on them, keep working on it, keep chipping away at this. So, I have a feeling that that's going to come up again, some of these pre-snap issues. I just, until they prove otherwise, it's gonna be a thing. They gotta stop with these negative plays, but I have a feeling it's gonna be a problem. Now the good news is for a defense that Matt Eberflus runs, where he's basically just sitting back waiting for you to make a negative play. Do you know how many penalties the Giants had on their opening drive last week?
I'm going to guess a lot.
6. They had 6 penalties on their first drive of the game, I'm including the opening kickoff on that because they had a penalty on their kickoff return. James Hudson, one of their offensive linemen, had 4 penalties on the first drive. Now, if I asked any normal person, what do you think the outcome of that drive was? They would say, well, they punted. Well, to even have the opportunity to have 6 penalties means you were still getting first down somehow. And after all that, I'm sure Flus was pleased with it because he doesn't mind field goals, but the Giants still managed 3 points on that opening drive despite 6 penalties. So my point is maybe this week you can get away with that stuff a little bit more. But unfortunately, I feel like we're still going to be a conversation.
I think, here's my prediction. I mean, this is tied to the eyes and footwork a little bit. I mean, it's definitely tied to it. But it's going to be post-snap recognition, just in terms of coverage. Because I think Matt Eberflus is going to throw a few wrinkles at Caleb Williams, especially on third downs, where what he's showing isn't exactly what he's doing. And whether Caleb can adjust to that within the snap, after the snap, within the play, as he's in his drop, as he's looking right to left or going through his progressions, going from 1 to 2. Can he identify which coverage this just shifted to? Because I imagine there's going to be some gamesmanship from Matt Eberflus' side where he's going to throw a little bit more on the table here than all the zone coverages he has in the past. He has to. It's like almost human nature that he's going to be a little bit aggressive on this just in terms of getting after his former quarterback and his former team.
Yeah, well, and they got some guys, like Trayvon Diggs, who's not used to playing much zone. You'd honestly be better off playing man. So Flus is sorting through all that. I agree with you. There's going to be some wrinkles, but I still think it's going to be a limited amount. I mean, he's blitzing 17%, like 17.9% of the time, which I think is 28th in the league. Do you know who's 27th, though?
The Bears.
The Bears. It's not like Dennis Allen's blitzing a lot. He also doesn't really have the personnel right now.
He's worried. Well, I think both defensive coordinators are struggling with personnel questions and learning what they could do best and what they could, will really do just in terms of how aggressive they want to be.
Oh, you got a new segment for us here.
Hold on. That was 3 big questions brought to you by RC Cola. RC Cola is not a soft drink, just damn good cola with Italian beef or some Chicago pizza. I do have a new segment. Are you ready for this one?
Yes.
Some numbers to think about.
Point is, those are some numbers.
This is good. All right. So let me click on this real quick. All right. So Dan Orlovsky tweeted this one yesterday. All right. What I'm going to try to do with this segment is take one interesting stat from the Bears side and one interesting stat from the opposition side. So this is from Dan Orlovsky, ESPN. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Caleb Williams by target. Rome Odunze, 8.8 yards per attempt. So that's a plus 0.31% CPOE. Let me just get this right. That's completion percentage over hold on. Let me get
Expected.
this right. Over expected. Yes.
Yes.
So what that basically measures is the CPOE. What that measures is a quarterback's accuracy. So he's at a positive 3.1%. Throwing at Odunze, he has a QBR of 98.8. All other Bears receivers, the yards go down to 5.5 yards per attempt, a negative CPOE of minus 14.1%, and a QBR of 34.5. What do you make of those numbers?
Point is, those are some numbers.
No, I got a little bit deeper than that, Bob. I mean, one, it means Rome's making some plays. When you get that completion percentage over expected, I mean that basically, it's almost like what they're doing in baseball right now. They can measure the launch angle and your exit velocity and like tell you what the expected batting average is supposed to be, on any given contact with the baseball. It's pretty alarming though to see the when he's not throwing at Rome, and I think that's got to be the thing that gets fixed here pretty quickly because, a lot of these passes to DJ Moore should be at or near the line of scrimmage, where you're looking for yak. It should not be terribly
inaccurate
hard throws. Same thing with Luther Burden. I mean, find a way to get him involved. These tight ends should be a safety blanket. Honestly, like the hard throws should be the jump balls to Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
So it's weird, honestly.
One of the surprising things to me is the success of Olamide Zaccheaus. Everything we talked about in the preseason and in camp has not carried over to the regular season. Now he's made some catches. He's had some yak, but it's not in the volume I think we expected it to be, where you're looking at 5-6 catches a game and you're looking at 70, 80 yards a game. You're just not seeing that right now from Caleb Williams to OZ.
Yeah, I think those numbers are a little high, like in terms of what you should expect. Week 1 was fine. Week 2, with only 2 catches on 5 targets, 12 yards. Both of them were 6-yard catches. Yeah, it should be a little bit more than that. But I mean, I'm looking at this like, if OZ is just your third down, move the chains guy, not putting up big numbers, you live with that. But at the same time, I need to see Luther Burden come in sometimes when you have 4 wide receivers on the field, or some packages where he's in for OZ, and get him the ball and have some big explosive plays. And that is the one thing they can't hang their hat on. The explosive percentage has been way higher. Now it's still middle of the pack, but they are getting explosives compared to what we usually see out of this offense.
All right, next stat. This is from Ian Hartitz from Fantasy Life. If you're into fantasy numbers, I'm sure you follow him. George Pickens has drawn 79 yards from defensive pass interference penalties through 2 weeks, according to True Media. Not only is that easily number one among individual players, but the closest NFL team as a whole is just at 56 from the Vikings through 2 weeks. So what do you think this means for the Bears secondary, Adam Hoge?
Well, it's concerning me that the Vikings are the second team because they played the Bears week 1. And Deshaun Wright was guilty of a PI in that game.
And that was a lot of yardage.
Yeah, it was. So it's probably a big chunk of that was on that one play. Because wasn't that like 30 yards or something?
I want to say it was like 47.
Yeah. It's concerning, but the Giants secondary was having they were having problems last week. So off the top of my head, they had 14 penalties, I think, in that game. I don't know how many of them were PIs. It seemed like there were a lot. So I don't necessarily think that it's going to totally carry over like it's some major problem. Do they end up getting a couple PI calls in this game? Probably. Especially if the Bears don't have Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon again, which they won't.
I have a over-under here, kind of continuing this conversation. But those are your numbers to think about.
Point is, those are some numbers.
All right, over-unders. Let's run through these quickly, Adam Hoge.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Serotonin on Twitter. Over-under rookie touches, 6.5. Colson, Burden, Monangai, receptions or carries, 6.5 rookie touches.
Yeah, I'm going to go over. And it really has to do with Monangai. He had 7 attempts last week, so keep that in mind. Also, DeAndre Swift is on the injury report, dealing with a quad, and he didn't play that well in pass pro last week, and he had that bad penalty coming out of the half. So, to me, this all adds up as more opportunities for Kyle Monangai, who already went over that number by himself last week.
I think you're also going to have a big day from Colson Loveland. You're going to have an overcorrection here by Ben Johnson where you get some scheme calls for his tight ends. Like, he's on the record saying the tight end production is on me. So he's going to fix that this week. So I wouldn't be surprised if Colson Loveland has 4 or 5 catches in this game for some chunk yardage, particularly against maybe like a Jack Sanborn in coverage. Like, that's a matchup I try to exploit if I'm Ben Johnson. And then to your point, yes, Monangai is going to get some carries. So way over on this one. This is from Fitz. Over under 1.5 Flus D takeaways.
I'm going to take the under.
Do they get 1?
Yeah, probably 1. But remember, the Bears had a couple turnovers last week. I'm sure it's been drilled in their heads. The Cowboys had a late interception in overtime. That was kind of a miscommunication by the Giants, and Russ just threw it up there. I'm just going to go with 1. I think they get the under. I think it stays under 1.5.
I'm going to go. They get a takeaway. I think they're going to get interception. They're going to pick off Caleb Williams.
So is that over?
No, just 1.
Okay.
Just 1. I don't think they're going to have a fumble or anything, but I'm concerned about, like I was going to the last game, the turnovers by the offense and that playing a major role in how things play out. All right, next one. Emilio, over under kerfuffles between George Pickens and Tyreek Stevenson, 1.5. I like this one.
Ooh, I like this one too. Kerfuffle. I'll go over. Yeah, I think these guys will get after it a little bit.
At least 2 times. One time where everybody has to separate them.
Mm-hmm.
It's inevitable.
Hey, you know what I saw last night in that Bills game, by the way? Josh Allen slid, and then some guy came in over the top, and Dalton Kincaid took exception to it immediately, and then Josh Allen immediately threw Dalton Kincaid the ball. That was cool. It'd be cool if, the Bears did that sometimes.
I believe our previous guest, Kyle Long, commented on how the Buffalo Bills were protecting their quarterback.
Yeah.
And multiple points throughout that game.
Protect him, and then he's going to have your back. I did not like how the officials... well, that's a whole different side. I like that they didn't call a penalty on the Bills for protecting the quarterback, but then like 2 plays later, there was like a really touchy foul on the Dolphins for roughing.
Is this the Jordan Brooks one?
I think so. It just if you're going to let one go, then you got to let the other one go. And it wasn't even that big of a deal. So over officiating, it's been a theme so far.
From the Book of Ezra, how many times will the broadcast show Flus's reaction when Caleb torches his defense? Or vice versa, how many reaction shots when Flus's defense sacks or picks off Caleb? It's an arbitrary line, but I'll guess 3.5 times.
Yeah, so in other words, just how many Flus reactions do we get?
You're going to get a bunch.
Yeah, I would take the over on that.
Way over, yeah. He's going to be a star, win or lose, for the Dallas Cowboys on the broadcast here. This is from Sam. How many times, even veiled references, are there at the Tom Brady broadcast meeting controversy? Over, under, half?
Under. I don't think that they'll address it at all. I think it's too touchy of a subject for Fox, for Tom. Yeah, they from what I can tell, they just avoid that I don't even think they mentioned that they never make reference to the fact that he's a minority owner of the Raiders on the broadcast. So I don't think you're going to hear anything.
It's not going to come up at all.
Yeah.
This is from Callie Queen. Over under comments and Flus growing his beard out in Chicago. Half. Yeah, I think you get one just in some type of passing reference. You know, he still got that look he got here in Chicago, something like that.
Yeah, they'll show some photos of like what he looked like when he got there, the slick back hair versus the glow up. I don't know.
All right, last one. This is actually a question from Bill Colbert. At what point should a man consider modest haircut style change to alter public perception of their work performance?
That's not an over-under.
It's a good question. Hey, look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah. He's got the glasses now, too. The Flusy Flus. He's rocking some glasses.
Flusy Flus.
Yeah. All right.
I bet you he gets a warm reception from some players.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I don't think it was ever. I don't think there's any animosity.
And I think he endeared himself to some of those defensive players as well.
People, no one. The way I always understood, like no one disliked Matt Eberflus. No one thought he was a jerk or, a bad guy to play for. There's no animosity. Just no one thought he was a head coach. I mean, I'm talking about. I'm talking about the players even. Like they just. He wasn't head coach material. So I think there'll be some warm embrace. Now, the Caleb part of it might be different because when you have that come out in a book about, however it was received, whether it was accurate or not, in terms of what he meant, whatever. Yeah. We've already seen, I think, a lot of coaches on that coaching staff. Now, Flus was obviously defensive side of the ball, but he was also the head coach. So, and we know from Hard Knocks their meetings. So that one might be interesting. I hope if there is a post-game embrace between those two or a pre-game conversation, we see it.
But, yeah, we'll have our eyes on it, especially pre-game. I don't think you'll see it pre-game because I don't think the defensive coordinators are out there really. I don't know, like hanging out in the middle of the field. Yeah. Like
sometimes you see that. I think, by the way, Steven's filling in for Katie today. I think he got the glasses here if you're watching on YouTube. That almost looks photoshopped.
He looks serious.
Those are some stylish glasses. Loose.
Huh. Under Armour?
That's why I was trying to. I don't think so. I don't know.
We'll see.
It seriously almost looks photoshopped. It's funny. All right, should we get into the game?
Let's do it.
Predictions.
Fox 325. This line has swung. Cowboys now 1.5 point favorites. The Bears were 1 point favorites before. Soldier Field, Tom Brady on the call. Kevin Burkhardt, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi, America's Game of the Week. It'll get ratings too.
It will. It's going to be a high-scoring affair. So here is my bold prediction.
Oh, you're going bold prediction on me.
Bold prediction first. I already did Colson Lovell and one, and Cole Kmet's a bit, so maybe I have to do something else. So maybe Kyle Monangai, I mean, is just one touchdown a bold prediction at this point for him, or would two be? Okay.
Bold for him to get in the end zone.
All right, so the rookie running back gets in the end zone as part of this high-scoring affair that I'm about to predict.
Okay. Well, I'll do my bold prediction. Then I will say that Caleb Williams throws for over 325 yards in this game.
Okay. But do the Bears win?
So, I've been going back and forth on this one. This has been tough. It's just really hard to predict the game when both defenses look terrible. And I do think there's going to be some adjustment from the Bears. I think Dennis Allen's right in that they got a bunch of guys that have pride that are going to want to play better. The issue is, though, the Cowboys have been really good offensively. I mean, all the advanced metrics show it. They've been running the ball really, really well. And I'm not that optimistic that I think the Bears will be better than they were against the Lions, but that was 52 points. I mean, 30 is still on the table here for the Cowboys. I also think the Bears will be better offensively. It does make me a little nervous, though. It's not like Flus had a ton of success against Ben Johnson, but by Ben Johnson's own admission, when his team wasn't able to run the ball on Matt Eberflus's defenses, it was a struggle. And I don't know that the Cowboys are totally able to stop the run. They do have Kenny Clark in there, which helps. I just don't know that the Bears can run the ball because it hasn't been good enough. So that has me nervous too. My tiebreaker in all this, Johns, is that the Cowboys have the best kicker in the league, and he can make field goals from the logo at midfield. So in a close, tight game in which I think the offense continues to take a step forward, despite probably some more pre-snap issues, I have the Cowboys win 30-28.
So my tiebreaker in this is Dak Prescott. For everything that Clarence just said earlier in the show, he's off to a great start. I do think he's a top 10 quarterback when healthy. He's got two outstanding receivers. He has a run game that's working. I know there's an injury up front that you have to be concerned about for the offensive line, but at the same time, the Lions forever just have good offensive lines. They do. I see this playing out kind of just like it kind of did in Detroit. I don't think the Cowboys are going to drop 52 on the Bears, but they're going to put up some points. It's going to be close for a bit, but I'm just not sure Caleb Williams at this point, with Ben Johnson, still learning, still going through a growing process here, still developing, is going to be able to do enough to keep up with what the Cowboys are doing. So I have the Cowboys 34-20. Let's go 31-27. 31-27 Cowboys. I know what you're saying about the Bears' run game. Like, there's some interesting stats about that. Like, their success rate is pretty good as an offensive line, right? Like, and then what's the yards per contact, before contact for the DeAndre Swift or for the Bears run game?
It's actually been pretty good.
It's good, top 5.
Yeah.
But yet they're still, bottom 5 in rushing efficiency. So something's not working in terms of the DeAndre Swift and finding his way through the holes that are being created by his offensive linemen. And I get it. Be patient. It's a learning process, but we got a game to pick. So this is an easy prediction, but I think Matt Eberflus is also going to have a couple series where he's got the best of Caleb Williams, whether that's a sack, whether that's a pick, whether that's just a 3-and-out. And you see some inaccurate passes from the young quarterback. So 31-27 Cowboys. Dak Prescott has another outstanding day behind center for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm just struggling with what evidence do I have that the defense is going to be able to slow this? That doesn't mean they won't. It's just I don't know what I can point to. They're just because they should be better. I mean, they gave up. You go back to the last quarter of the Vikings game, and it turns out that offense doesn't look that good. They've given up 73 points in 5 quarters. So and
this is where the other phases come into play here. Like, no one is faulting Caleb Williams for the blowout loss in Detroit. But at some point, like even Ben Johnson said that himself, complementary football has to come into play. Like, your offense needs to stay on the field. It can't have a turnover. It can't have a 3-and-out. It needs to score itself to offset all the scoring happening on the other side to keep this game close, to give yourself a chance in the fourth quarter. So,
yeah, well, you have to be close to perfect. And
yes.
So you can't have a 3-possession stretch in the second quarter like you did last week where you go fumble, turnover on downs, interception.
Nope.
can't happen. And I think the same, even though the Cowboys aren't overall as good as the Lions, it's still, you're not going to be able to keep up that way with the state of the defense right now. So we're both on the Cowboys. It's interesting because I feel like a lot of people are picking the Bears this week.
Yeah, you know what? And I had, like, in my preseason predictions, this is one of the games I had the Bears winning, but I just couldn't see what's happening on defense right now happening,
right.
And it's happening, and it's not good. It's not good at all.
Right. All right, let's move on. We got 5 other games to pick through. We will do these quickly. Our guy Nick sent in the results from last week. Johns, they were not good for you. You went 1-5.
I don't believe that.
You are 4-8 on the season.
Does he have to add in the commentary in parentheses here? Yikes!
Yeah, he's at John's 1-5. Yikes!
Oh boy.
Yeah, I was 4-2 last week. I'm 7-6 on the season so far, and only one of us has locked anything so far this season, and I was wrong about that with my Giants pick in week 1. So, yeah, thanks again to Nikki for sending those in. We move on, and we start with the Packers.
Hello.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Wow, that was a lot of voices.
Back in the conference call days.
Times have changed.
That's how long Matt LaFleur's been there, though.
Wow, yeah.
I miss the conference calls.
Yeah. We had some fun.
Fun time. All right, we have the noon game. Fox. Packers are 7.5-point favorites at the Browns.
I have the Packers covering. I like them by 10. They might be one of the best. They might be the best team in football right now. The way that defense is playing, the offense is working under the aforementioned Matt LaFleur. It's a thing, guys. The Packers are good. They got one of the best defensive players in the league. And the Browns are, well, the Browns.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Packers here too. It wouldn't shock me though if the Browns keep this close. They did in week 1 against the Bengals. I just think at the end, too much firepower. Maybe a late touchdown in the fourth quarter puts it over the 7.5. Tucker Kraft, they got away with one yesterday. He suffered a knee injury in practice, and apparently he's just fine. But he's been unbelievable so far for them, and that would have been a huge loss if they didn't have Tucker Kraft. So, but he seems like he'll be okay.
The Packers. I mean, Tucker Kraft is still open.
Yep,
he was so open in that last game. So they have the 6th ranked offense in scoring. They're number 12 in yards. Their defense is 4th in scoring and 3rd in yards.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Next game.
Can't tell you how excited I am to be back on the grass.
CBS noon. Bengals at the Vikings. The Vikings are a 2.5-point favorite. This is Carson Wentz versus Jake Browning.
Yes. Well, like this would be a game if I'm giving advice that I would stay away from, because you have 2 backup quarterbacks going against each other. So stay away. I like the Vikings defense. Excuse me, as I burp into the mic. I like what Brian Flores does defensively. It's a good defense. They'll get after Jake Browning. But didn't Jake Browning have a game like last year where he was like 24 for 26 passing?
Yeah, he's not bad. He's a good backup to have. They got plenty of weapons. And I think overall they're gonna be mostly fine. I don't know if it's gonna be good enough to keep them afloat to make the playoffs. I was high on the Bengals for the season, but that was because Joe Burrow was my MVP pick. That is not happening anymore. Injuries can do that. I do like the Vikings defense. I almost wonder, too, if Carson Wentz's experience right now will help the offense compared to what J.J. McCarthy's been struggling with here early, say for the fourth quarter against the Bears.
But I know what you're saying, but I have no expectation level for what Carson Wentz is going to be able to do at this point in his career. Pick up your phone.
Did you actually hear that?
I did.
It's on silent. It means it's coming through the computer. That's not good. I'm going to take the Vikings at home. Bounce back. I was right about the Falcons last week, by the way.
You got the Vikings by 3. I'll take the Vikings by 3, but stay away. I have no idea what to expect from Carson Wentz.
Okay. Bears could use some corners right
Yeah, that is a soundbite that, should be played a lot.
Never have enough corners. Fox noon, Rams at Eagles. The Eagles a 3.5-point favorite at home.
So the Rams, you know how good their defense is right now?
They've been sacking the quarterback a lot.
Yes. First in points, fourth in yards. And their offense is moving the ball okay, too. Flirting with top 10 in both categories as well. The Eagles win, but the Rams, for everything we just said about their defense, keep this close. Keep it to a field goal, or even less. They cover.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. I'm gonna take the Eagles covering though. I think they're a well-oiled machine right now. They find ways to move the football. I will say this though, and this might actually be enough of a reason to take the Rams to cover. The league came out yesterday and put out an officiating video and said we need to call this tush push nonsense where they're lined up off sides, they're false starting, and they, in the language, they said like we got to call this tight. So I bet you that they get called for at least one penalty on the tush push, and maybe are slightly not as effective too because they've been getting away with this.
Yeah,
going back to the playoffs last year. So that'll be super interesting. And if they can't convert that at the same rate, that could be at least enough to flip the spread. But I'm going to stick with the Eagles here in the meantime.
I'd like to see him get his hands on more balls.
Raiders, Commanders, next week's opponent.
And the opponent after that.
Fox, noon. See if Tom Brady has the game. Well, I guess he can watch the game in the booth before the Bears play. Maybe call in some secrets. I don't know. The Commanders are a 3.5-point favorite in the D.C. area.
Jaden Daniels. I think you predicted this not too long ago. He is off to quite the slow start in his second season. Is he not?
And he's hurt. He has not practiced the last 2 days because of a knee injury. And that's coming off is this from today too? Steven popping this up on the screen.
Yeah, this is like just now at the time of our taping.
Ooh, good timing on this one. Thank you, Steven. Adam
Marcus
Schefter saying
Mariota.
Jaden Daniels has not been spotted at practice day, signaling is unlikely he'll be recovered from his knee sprain in time to start Sunday's game versus the Raiders. Marcus Mariota in line to start versus his former team. Yeah, and this was my concern with Jaden Daniels too, his health. They played over a week ago now. They played last Thursday, so he's had a ton of time to get back. It's an indication that it's definitely hurting him. The Raiders, though, man, Brock Bowers did not look right on Monday night. They don't have a ton of weapons.
Like the Ashton Genty conversation, like if he's on the Bears, like I think he's looking like Ashton Genty. But on the Raiders, without much of an offensive line, he is struggling. That's the old argument. Like, don't draft the running back before your offensive line is set, and that's the problem taking place there in Las Vegas.
Yeah, this is a tough one to call. I guess because it's 3.5, I will take the Raiders to cover, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I'm taking the Raiders to cover as well.
Right. Fair enough.
Have we taken all the same?
All right, so 2 words, Aaron Rodgers.
Hall of Fame. 2 words.
I think we might have.
All right, let's try to be different here.
Okay.
You go first.
Monday night, this is a good one.
I got to make up in the standings here. I'm 4-8.
That's a good point. Well, maybe I'm strategically just copying you so that you can't catch me.
Well, if you do that, yeah.
Monday night, ESPN and ABC 7:15. The Lions are in Baltimore. You surprised the spread is so high? The Ravens
I
are
am.
4.5-point favorites.
I am. What did the Buffalo Bills drop on the Ravens the other day?
Well, they put up 40 something. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You're talking about week 1 on Sunday
Yeah.
night? Yeah, a lot
Yes.
of that was late, though. It was that little comeback they had.
Still did it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the Ravens, yeah, we're going to learn. Do they have defensive problems, or are they going to be able to step up and win this game comfortably like apparently the Vegas thinks they should?
Well, the numbers show they have defensive problems.
Yeah.
They're 25th in scoring, 31st in total yards, 31st in passing yards. So, yeah, I mean, it would seem to suggest they do have some problems on defense. Well, their offense, I mean, they're leading the league in scoring. So, I mean, take the over in this one. I don't know what it is, but take the over in this one. I'm going to take the Lions. Part of me wants to take them to win, but give me the Lions and the points. I think they fixed. I think the Ben Johnson game, all the emotions that went into it, helped fix whatever ailed them in week 1, and I think they're still going to be rolling against a Ravens defense that is not particularly good, despite some of the star power it has.
Okay. I am we are gonna differ here because this is just one of those lines where it just seems like they're begging you to take the Lions. Why is the spread so high? And then Lamar Jackson gets out there and does what he does at home. They put up a bunch of points, and I don't think the Ravens defense is as bad as. Because the flip side of that is, and you can't just erase the comeback the Bills had. I get it. But for a while there, they were winning that game very comfortably on the road in Buffalo. It looked like one they could have put away. So I'm going to go with the Ravens here, and I'm going to get bold with it too.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, fine. I'll lock the Lions.
Okay. You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
The Bills had like 240 rushing yards against the Ravens in week 1.
Yeah.
Like Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have if you got him on your fantasy team, this is going to be a good week for you, I think.
Yeah, Derrick Henry only had 23 yards last week on 11 carries. What that's all about.
I mean, this is interesting 2 games for the Ravens too. I mean, you got the Lions, and then the next game, Kansas City Chiefs on the road.
Tough schedule. All right, we got to get out of here. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the game Sunday. We'll see if we're wrong and the Bears come back with a win. They need one badly. Falling 0-3 would not be good, but it might be on the table. So we'll see. If you are looking for something to do, if you're going to the game on Sunday, come to the tailgate. CHGO tailgate. We'll be out there. The official CHGO tailgate, best in the city, and tickets are available. So go to allchgo.com/events. You can get those tickets, and we'll see you before the game. Otherwise, we will be back with you live on Monday morning, 9 a.m. to recap everything that happens against the Cowboys. That voicemail line will be open. It'll be popping. We'll get those voicemails for you on Monday. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you then.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.